Greetings from Camano Island, which is located in the Salish Sea in the Pacific Northwest region of the United States. The island is part of the traditional territory of the Stillaguamish tribe of Indians, and it is a place full of natural beauty: sea, forests, rivers, and mountains, and creatures of all kinds. It is a place that makes the images of Genesis 1 and 2 come alive. It is a place where it's easy to experience how good, how very good is this wondrous world God has created, sustains, and loves so deeply. It is also a place that has just experienced a prolonged summer drought that has left the land parched. Summers here are fairly dry, but not this dry, and all that dry brush and timber has meant that wildfire season has lasted much longer than usual. Right now, wildfires are burning in the western Cascade Mountains, not too far from here, and the air has been full of ash and smoke. It is but one example of how normal events, wildfires, storms, temperature fluctuations, have been intensified by climate change. As people here have been watching the fires, breathing the smoke, and seeing the sun turn red, some have described the situation as apocalyptic, by which they mean it seems like a scene from an end-of-the-world movie. But for readers of the Bible, the word apocalypse means something a little different. It means revelation, something that has been hidden but is now being revealed. And in that sense, this moment that we are in is apocalyptic. It is revealing to us in tragic clarity that the way we are living on the earth is doing tremendous damage. For hundreds of years, we humans have been living unsustainably, taking more than we should, burning more than we should, wasting more than we should. We have not lived with gratitude, restraint, and care the way that God has commanded and created us to live. And so now we see that the amazing, life-giving systems carefully crafted by our Creator are overburdened and are being pulled apart by humanity. It is not an overstatement to say that we are tearing the very fabric of life. Climate systems are destabilizing, ecosystems are breaking down, species are disappearing, and vulnerable human populations are bearing a disproportionate share of the burdens. As a Christian, it is important to ask, what does it mean to follow Jesus in an age of climate change? The sad answer is that many churches and people of faith have not asked that question. They may have seen the damage we are doing, but have looked away or watched in silence. And some have even been actively complicit, denying the reality of climate change, and even teaching that human domination of creation is the will of God. The good news is that this is changing. Followers of Jesus are discovering that his life, death, and resurrection is good news for all of creation. Communities of faith are recognizing that care for creation is central to what it means to love God and love our neighbor. People of faith, just like you, are connecting their faith to the challenge of climate change and looking for meaningful action steps to take. Following Jesus in an age of climate change is not easy. We are all at different stages of the journey with different gifts, capacities, and limitations, but we can all do something. And I find it helpful to think about actions we can take in terms of small, medium, and large steps. Small steps require minimal sacrifice, but they can help us begin the journey. And there are thousands of small actions you can take with climate change in mind. You can make it part of your daily prayer life. You can read the Bible with the earth in mind, and you'll be surprised how much of the non-human world shows up. You can ask your pastor to include climate change in worship, sermons, and church education programs. You can educate yourself on the science of climate change, and you can learn about your local ecosystem and how climate change is affecting it. You can choose to walk, bike, or take public transportation instead of driving somewhere. You can contact your local, regional, and national government representatives and ask them to support policies and laws that help mitigate climate change. You can support organizations that are working on short and long-term solutions. And you can host a climate vigil just like this at your church, in your home, or in a local park. It's tempting to be overwhelmed by the challenges and the solutions. I encourage you simply to take one idea and begin right where you are. Small steps can take you a long way. Medium steps require a bit more sacrifice, but they can bring significant change to your life and your community. I know some people that have given up driving for a whole month or have gotten rid of their car altogether. Others, when they have learned about the impact that the meat industry has had on climate change, have become vegetarian or vegan. I've seen people join the front lines of a protest, while others have intentionally divested their money from banks and corporations that support ongoing fossil fuel projects. Still others have invested in solar panels and wind turbines. These steps are about making permanent changes. They can be difficult, but ultimately rewarding and a great source of joy. For those ready to consider large steps, they require significant sacrifice and can alter the shape and direction of your life, but they're worth it too. In 2017, I was the pastor of a great church with great people who I loved dearly. But I felt called to take a step of faith and try to start something that would help make the changes we need. And so I stepped down from the church in order to start Circlewood, a nonprofit dedicated to accelerating the greening of faith. This changed the nature of my vocation significantly and moved my family from a place of relative security and safety into an unknown and risky future. It has been an exciting and bumpy ride, but I don't regret it. Now, I'm not intending to hold myself up as a perfect example. Many others have made much greater sacrifices, and I admire and honor and learn from them. I know people who have left their comfortable and conventional lives to build self-sufficient homesteads and communities. People who have said goodbye to stable jobs in order to run for office or organize protest movements. I know people who have sacrificed a huge portion of their lives, sometimes their actual lives, protecting crucial ecosystems, and people who have left everything to live among and serve those most affected by climate change. So what does it mean to follow Jesus in an age of climate change? It means joining Jesus on a journey of transformation and healing. It means taking one step and then another. Each of you who are participating in this vigil is in a different place on the journey. You may be exploring a small step. God bless you as you do. You may be ready for a medium step, something that takes a bit more effort and sacrifice. God guide you as you do. And you may be hearing a call to take a big step, to do something big and bold and risky. God strengthen you as you do. Wherever you are on the journey, and whatever steps you take, just remember that you are not alone. We travel together as the Spirit guides us. God be with you all. Amen.